Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1296, written by Mangofats, the Russian Time Travelers. This happened the time a friend and I were sitting out in my backyard, smoking, drinking coffee, and literally just chillin'. Our chairs faced the main road through the city, and we just watched cars because of Midwest boredom. It's 4 AM and freaking boom! Sounds like a light pole has fallen or something has crashed. Naturally, we go check it out beyond the tree to see more of the road that led to business parking lots and whatnot. Now at 4 in the morning, we hear this insane sound and we find nothing. But we do find two small, tiny old Russian women. I asked because I liked their accent. And they were using walkers, wearing typical old lady crap, walking down this busy main road that was somehow dead for miles at this time. How? I don't know. Listening to them overly explain why they were walking to get their medication at CVS, how they do this every morning and always have, we asked if they heard anything. They said no, not at all. Shady. However, they had not always gotten their meds at 4 AM on 1st Avenue. We have been out there with not crap to do, and I grew up on the block. We would have seen them and known them in the past 15 plus years in that house. Anyway, I swear, we turn away, walk back across the streets, and then they're just gone. Just gone. I don't know. I don't care to know, but it was weird. Case notes file 1296. The Russian Time Travelers. So it's that boom sound that makes a lot of sense to me. Remember, the atmosphere of the Earth is all over at relatively equal pressure in any given spot, so if you were to suddenly introduce mass, like two small Russian women, into an area, literal materialization from another universe or timeline, then all of that atmosphere has to get out of the way, at virtually instantaneous speeds too, enough to create a shockwave which you boys heard. Heck, maybe it isn't two Russian women, maybe it's alien imposters beaming down, using them as disguises. That said, either answer, while making some technical sense because of the boom, isn't all that compelling. I mean, odd place to teleport in to scout as aliens, or, if you're Russian time travelers, posing as old ladies or really are old ladies just visiting a specific area? I don't know, it seems a bit odd. Or maybe it is just like a multiversal transit event and temporary, but then it makes you wonder, why don't you hear the boom sound effect in other stories? Where people are crossing between parallel universes, somehow, I guess, occupying the exact same spot? The boom sound would only play if there's new mass introduced into an area. If we're crossing universes and we're in the same spot, just like our soul, then there would be no mass introduced, just energy. But, in the cases where there's DOP, things moving between, physical mass moving between universes, that should create some sound effect. Pretty loud one most of the time too. Interesting. I don't know. Creepy file number 120, written by OGWhiz, the Ominous Forest Stalkers. Around 2007, 5 of us drove up this old dirt road. It's well known in the area, just outside of town, but takes about 45 minutes to drive down it. It's not maintained at all. We spent a lot of time on that road wandering the woods around it. Today, we drove about 30 minutes in and stopped. 3 of the guys in the car with us were going to relax with plants. We were all like 17, but myself and another guy weren't into those plants. The other guy especially. He got out of the car and started walking back towards town. Feeling bad, the driver wanted to at least drive him back to town. He refused to get in the car. He's a pretty stubborn person. Well, eventually, it turned into us all joking and being idiots. We're slowly driving next to him. He's messing around. The road was raised a bit from the tree line, which was about 20 feet from the road. The walking friend jumped down off the road and went to run into the woods, then came to a complete stop. That's when we all noticed a man standing there just in the tree line looking at us. It was weird. Walking friend got back into the road and continued walking. We're begging him to get in the car, but he won't. I looked back, and now the man was on the road slowly following us up the road. Friend wouldn't get back into the car, and we're still quite a distance from town. Another friend got out to walk with him at least. We drove slowly with them, an old man still following along. Keep in mind there was nothing on this road. Nothing. This dude was just standing there in the tree line. Very strange. Eventually, another man emerged from the woods and started following too. They followed us right up until the main road was visible and other cars could be seen. Then they retreated back into the woods. Who were these mysterious men? Case notes for the creepy file number 120. The ominous forest stalkers. This could be a case of odd people defending their property lines. It's been known to happen. How they knew you boys were there is unclear though, as your description doesn't afford a house being nearby. So they were just camping the edge, like protecting their line from there. It's not impossible. I don't think they were monsters, but I do think leaving immediately was the right choice. Sometimes people will be crazy, Honestly, that's the main point, right? Sometimes monsters are preferable to the wickedness of man. Bonus file written by GRagon13. Ghosts should never laugh. I was in high school, 10th grade, I believe 15 years old. I was babysitting my two younger brothers, 9 and 4 years old, on a Friday night. My mom and stepdad went to a local bar about 15 minutes away. We lived in a small township outside of a city in a very quiet neighborhood. To be honest, I don't remember the exact time, but it was after 10 p.m. Us three were sitting in our living room when the television started going through channels randomly. I specifically remember sitting on the couch looking at the remote across the room, placed on a recliner. I went over and grabbed the remote, but the television was not responding to my inputs. I then went to the TV and powered it off, taking a few steps back and wondering what the hell that was all about. My one brother asked me what happened, and I didn't know what to say. I sat back down on the couch and held the remote in my hand, giving the TV enough time to reboot. I don't know, I was young and thought it would work. A few minutes passed and I heard the scariest noise I've ever heard in my life. This cackling sound erupted in my living room. I remember jumping and looking around the room trying to pinpoint this very noise. My youngest brother started immediately crying, which prompted my other brother to grab him and pick him up. As the laughing continued, I pushed my brothers up the stairs and we all ran into my bedroom. As we ran in, I turned around to push my dresser in front of the door, which ended up failing miserably and the entire dresser came crashing down. At the moment, I didn't care because it felt safer with the dresser now against the door. The laughing continued for 5 more minutes, and I remember both my brothers were crying now and my eyes watered too. I held on to my Little League baseball bat, staring at the door as the laughing continued. I called my father and begged him to come home. I wish I would have called 911, but I didn't, and I'm not sure why. My father is a police officer, and I guess I just assumed he could get here quicker, and I felt safe with him. My dad showed up and searched around the house and found nothing. The laughing was gone, and I felt like an idiot trying to explain what had happened. I could tell he didn't believe me or my brothers. My mom and stepdad showed up not too long after, and also gave us the "you need some sleep" look. To this day, I have never heard a sound like that, the constant laughing. From time to time, I'll ask my brothers about it and it just gives us all chills. I have no idea what happened that night, but as time goes on, I like to make light of it. I know the story isn't amazing or award-winning, but to me, this was the most unexplained instance of fear in my life. Deep down, I'll always remember the urgent fear and panic caused by this cackling pure laughter. Case notes for the bonus file. Ghosts should never laugh. One thing that irks me tremendously is when parents discount the experiences of their children. Sure, sometimes they might lie, usually in an attempt to gain access to sweets or avoid punishment. That was my thing, the sweets thing. My mom literally had not the meme, but like the cliche of cookie jars on the top of the fridge. So I would climb on the counter next to the fridge and go get the cookie jar, or sometimes like a plastic container of cookies. I always loved sweets. That's never changed. It's only increased in potency as I got older. Anyways, for something like this though, there'd be no reason to make it up. Especially it's not just one, it's multiple children. To just discount all of them like they're crazy. Collective delusion, no. Listen to your kids. I think it simply boils down to an unwillingness to entertain anything beyond the normal square assigned by society. Like I said, it's irksome, right? As for the entity laughing like this, I don't know what it is, if it's a malformed spirit or something else, but I'd never sleep in that house again. There is something very creepy about laughter. like malevolent laughter. You can tell when a laugh, it's not laughing at a joke, it's laughing at like, you're gonna die or be injured or something. Not the good kind of laugh. And now time for the quote of the day. Friendship is being there when someone's feeling low, and not being afraid to kick them. Randy K. Milholland. When a friend is down, you gotta get a couple jabs in, just to make sure they're tender. No, but really, obviously be there for a friend when they're down, but I think there's a certain level of humor that is necessary to bring someone back up. Life can be extremely difficult and brutal, so you want to be able to be there for a friend and not just support them directly, technically, but also make their situation feel more lively and alleviate the weight that's on their shoulders, and humor is the best way to do that. Humor really is the ultimate weapon of positivity. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.